There's something about cinema that I miss dearly, Anthony. Can you guess what it is?
Something that you miss about cinema?
About movies in general. They used to be very popular, but seems to have disappeared completely out of 95% of movies today.
Is that the coming of age drama or the father-son relationship?
No. It's not a genre. It's the opening title sequence of movies, which is something that for it seemed like a century was the norm with movies, but seems to have sort of disappeared in the contemporary modern era. And my guess is it's something to do with streaming and low attention spans. A lot of studios don't want movies that have long openings before they get to the story, as well as, some filmmakers starting movies abruptly as a stylistic choice, catching on fire. But I'm telling you, man, something about opening credits, especially when I watch an old movie, even movies from the 2000s and 2010s will have opening credit sequences. I really miss them. For me, opening title sequences in films do such a great job, if they're effective and they're really good, at setting up the style of the movie, the tone of the movie, whether it's the music's enhancing that or the visuals, the aesthetic, the type of font used. Some filmmakers still will open their movies with opening title credits. Usually a lot of filmmakers from the past that are still making movies today, older filmmakers. But it seems like the average movie today in theaters does not have an opening title sequence, and I do miss them dearly.
I love a title credit sequence, and it really fell out in the 2000s. Really, there are only a handful of filmmakers who still do it, and when filmmakers do it, I think it's great. I remember Morbius had a great title sequence. It was awesome. David Fincher always does a title credit sequence. Always. So it depends on the filmmaker.
Not always.
But no, what didn't he do?
Gone Girl doesn't really have a title sequence. It has a couple of opening establishing shots.
No. He does the whole titles in that, man. That is his title sequence.
Okay, I guess so. Yeah.
It's 2 minutes of titles, bro.
Is it that long? Okay, you're right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it just cuts. He cuts it real fast, but he does all of his credits. He always does. I miss title credit sequences because they get you ready for the movie, and if they nail the tone with the style of the credits and the music and whatever fonts they choose, and I think that if we went back to title credits, it would open films in a more interesting way. I always love them. I love watching old Hitchcock movies because of the title credit sequences, mostly done by Saul Bass back in the day. But they were the standard, but now they don't really happen that much anymore. You obviously, movies, I would say you're probably right on the money with 95% of them not doing them anymore. And instead it's always just the studio logos, and then the movie starts. I love a title credit sequence, and I think we need more of them.
I miss them. I watched Fargo recently for fun, and that movie does such a great job establishing the tone and mood with the music and the title credits. Psycho is a great example, too. Bernard Herrmann's brilliant score, but Hitchcock getting shots of just the exterior city skyscraper shots, just exploring almost voyeuristically. And, again, for me, opening title credit sequences are just special. I think some of my favorites besides that, Fincher's always got great ones. His opening title sequence in Seven is one of the most memorable. And when you think of off the top of your head, what are the best ones? I think that's got to be the best ones of all time. The Graduate has a great opening title sequence. Clockwork Orange, The Exorcist, Star Wars, the opening title sequence of Star Wars is just the best. And then the text crawl. Like, has any movie opening title sequence ever gotten you in a mood for the film like Star Wars does with their opening text crawl, especially the original three?
Not quite, but there is a huge film that came out this year that still did a title credit sequence. Do you know what it was?
Huge film this year with opening title sequence.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Mission Impossible had a short one.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Mission Impossible. It's a title
Impossible.
sequence. Yeah.
You know, it's a classic. You know which one I love so much is Catch Me If You Cans.
Catch Me If You Can is one of the best. Because that wasn't Saul Bass, but they used Saul Bass for inspiration for designing that, and it was really fantastic. It was like two people, a duo made that. It came out so well.
It's the great animation, then John Williams' perfect score, but also the characters that they draw, and it really captures the tone. And what I like about Mission Impossible is they always do their opening credits, but they also tease the movie with just sequences of that you're about to see throughout the course of the film. And it seemed like Final Reckoning, it was just like even more just like quick cuts of every scene that's going to happen, which is really cool and exciting.
It's great because then when you're watching the film, you can't really remember because it was all out of context and none of it connected to each other in the edit of the little sizzle reel. So you completely forget about the imagery that you saw, and so the rest of the film does still surprise you, and that they've always done that. But it's interesting how this Mission Impossible always opens with the sizzle reel trailer basically before the movie starts. If you think about it.
Real quick before we continue, this episode is brought to you by our great sponsor, movieposters.com. Check out this awesome John Wick poster over my right shoulder, brought to us by movieposters.com. Use our code Raiders10 at checkout today to get 10% off.
It reminds me of this new trend in movie trailers. I don't like it. Maybe you like it, but I hate the like opening 5-second little teaser of the trailer that we get now. So now when you watch a trailer online, you get a quick sizzle reel of 5 seconds, then trailer starts now, and then the trailer starts, and it's like, oh my God, there's a teaser trailer inside of the teaser trailer.
And in 10 years, there's going to be a teaser for the teaser trailer for the trailer in the trailer itself. And then it's also a teaser trailer at the same time because it's not the full-length trailer. I don't hate it. And this connects the opening title sequence with attention spans, and it's a big combination of, more movies getting made than ever before every single year, as well as more TV being produced than ever before every single year, competing with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, competing with Twitter, X, competing with social media platforms for people's attention, and also people aren't watching TV anymore to get their commercials or to put their trailers. When we grew up, TV was where we saw trailers. And you'd see a trailer that everyone saw during an episode of CSI. We all saw the trailer for Kill Bill Volume 2. You know what I mean? Everyone saw that trailer, but no one watches fucking TV anymore outside of streaming platforms. It's just everyone's on streamers, and the only ads you get on streamers are like Sunblock and Bud Light. And if you have the ads, so I get that. I get that. Because Max isn't going to advertise a fucking movie by MGM.
You're not seeing movie trailers advertised on Amazon Prime with ads. It's true.
So I get that outside of their own stuff.
Obviously.
So trailers, they have to grab your attention these days because there's so many people everywhere. I'm sure the data backed it up where people are scrolling away from their trailers on social media because they're too long to get into. Because some trailers do take a while to get the story going and understand what this film's about. And a lot of people, they just want what's quick. Let me see. Oh, here's 5 quick shots. Basically, Mission Impossible's opening sequence. Because obviously, I think they were ahead of the curve here. But they more did it for a fun narrative to connect to the TV series as well, but to get people prepared for what you're about to watch. But it also connects to opening title sequences where those title sequences, they were so great at and are so great at preparing you for what you're about to watch. It's sort of like when you go to the bookstore or a library and you're figuring out what book to borrow and read or what book to buy. And so you're going through the covers, you're reading the synopses, you're looking at the artwork. All of that, for me, feels like it puts me in the mood for the book I'm potentially about to purchase or take out from the library. I think opening title credits do that so well. I mean, another great one for me is Alien. Is a brilliant opening title credit sequence.
Oh, yeah.
Just literally just a vast space, shot of vastness of space, Jerry Goldsmith's eerie score, just this cosmic dread, and then the great title reveal of Aliens, one of my all-time favorites. So I do miss this so much, and people like Spielberg, Tarantino's had opening credits. He does his own style, which is so much fun, mixing sort of serial television shows and movies, and B-movies like with his style. But I think that's connected so much to short attention spans where people don't want to wait for the movie to start, which is unfortunate because that's one of my favorite parts of seeing a movie, especially in theaters, is the opening titles.
I think Pearl had a title credit sequence. I might be
Probably,
wrong.
yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, but we need more of them because
I think he had like a very classic Hollywood style one.
And if you think about it, TV, you always have a title credit sequence.
Right?
Every time, every episode. And it's like, remember the Mad Men title credit sequence? That was so lit. I loved watching the Mad Men one. The Game of Thrones one, obviously so iconic. And The Last of Us is a great title credit sequence. So, and everybody loves them. everybody loves title credit sequences in TV shows, and we expect it in a TV show. Obviously there are TV shows that do very limited, a couple of like, this is production, presents, blah, 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 presents, and then the TV episode starts. But most of the time, we still get title credit sequences on TV. So I think that audiences would still enjoy to see them in the movie theater.
I think it's because you can skip them now, but also it's become part of television, especially prestige television, to have a great opening title sequence. Severance, both seasons have been superb and also very different from each other, their opening title sequences. But yeah, it's interesting that TV, it's fine and acceptable. I think it's because you can skip it. Now, it's not like you could skip The Sopranos opening title credit sequence back in the day when it was premiering on HBO back then.
Yeah.
Which is still a great opening title sequence of just Tony driving around with some like gangster-esque music playing in the background, just driving around Jersey. So even something as simple as that gets you in the mood and the tone and gets you amped up for what you're about to see.
You reminded me of the Graduates opening title credit sequence where it's Dustin Hoffman just landed. And he's on the what do you call it, like that super long treadmill that it's basically that's at airports. You know what I mean?
Oh, the walking treadmill.
the huge treadmill, whatever that's called. And airports have them. And that title credit sequence is it's a tracking shot.
It's like a conveyor belt for humans.
Exactly, yeah, a conveyor belt for humans. And it just tracks him the whole way going down with the wall behind him. And then the credits are played out on the wall. Tarantino took that shot for one of his movies. Do you know what shot it is?
Jackie Brown.
Correctamundo. He did the same thing in Jackie Brown.
Shit. Come on, man. Good question, though. But shit.
It's a great one. It's great.
But I think it works great with filmmakers who don't do opening title sequence. I'm not saying everyone has to do it. I just miss how common they used to be. Nolan doesn't really do them at all. Seldom.
Never.
I mean, Memento
Just
is
Memento.
probably...
That's it.
Memento's his longest one. Batman Begins kind of has a little opening mood sequence with the bat and the smoke and stuff like that. So that's a sort of an opening title sequence to get you in the tone. But I mean, Dunkirk, he just opens up right in the chaos of war. And Tenet, what's the opening title sequence of Tenet? It's literally just the outside the opera. So he's a filmmaker that doesn't really do it, which is fine because that's his style, and I don't have a problem with that. I think he's one of the reasons why it's maybe less popular these days. It's possible that maybe because he's done that and it's been trending with him in his style lately, that he kind of opens you up right into a really exciting part of an opening sequence that's just about to kick off.
Yeah, and there's different ways to do it. You can either make your own sequence visually for the title credits sequence, or you can just put the credits on like the opening of the film. Like, I'm always in the back of my head, I'm always like, what shot are they gonna pick for the director? What's it gonna end with the directed by? Which image is that gonna be? Because generally it's always like a really good image that they end with directed by so and so on the film.
And I agree. I always like how a lot of great filmmakers sort of innovate with the opening too, where I think Tarantino with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he really plays around with it. He always loves to play with his opening title sequences. I mean, the Kill Bill ones are great. The Pulp Fiction one's phenomenal. It's so iconic. Reservoir Dogs is great as well. But he likes to do sometimes just like an opening scene, then his credits. But I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one of my favorites because it opens up with the old Columbia logo, but then it opens up on the set of Bounty Law with Rick and Cliff being interviewed for the TV series and also bits and pieces of the show Bounty Law. And then it cuts to the close-up of Rick's face, the painting, the portrait in his driveway as it pulls out and zooms out, and then we get the opening text of cast and crew, which I think is a lot of fun. So he goes right into the world of this is sort of what the movie's going to be, where I'm going to be playing around with being in a movie, not being in a movie, being on a set, and then it just cuts to a close-up of Rick Dalton's face. And I think it's just so brilliant. I love that with the car starting.
It's not unlike The Hateful Eight, where he pulls back from the statue in the snowstorm as the credits roll.
Good point.
Yeah, it's not unlike that. Yeah.
Good point.
I just wanted I wanted to mention. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I wanted to mention that in case anyone didn't know, we received a terrible 1-star rating on Apple because apparently this person didn't think we talked about Sinners at all, so they gave us a 1-star review bashing us for not covering Sinners at all, even though we did a 90-minute episode on Sinners when it came out and made tons of viral clips on it. And so a bunch of our amazing fans left 5-star reviews to kind of bury it and even make fun of that reviewer. And so we just want to say thank you to everyone who did that. It was really funny. It made us feel great and cheered us up. So thanks to you, thanks to the guys and gals for burying that evil review and giving them a little hazing too.
Yeah, it's still in there. The thing is, Anthony tried
there.
to get it removed for hate speech, but there's no hate speech. It's just the person's insinuating some very terrible things, which you can assume they're mentioning. But again, it's a very untrue review. It's very unfair. We did more content, a 90-minute episode on Sinners than any other podcast that I saw out there. We did 90 full minutes on the film, and also hyped it up for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, as you all know, on Movie News and Letterboxd Recap and everything like that. So unfortunately, there are people out there that I think come after people online on the internet. It's just the world we're living in. So thank you to everyone who's leaving those 5-star reviews to get it buried. Keep it coming. Keep those reviews coming. We got to get that thing disappeared. We can't get it removed. We can't reply to it. We can't prove them wrong. We can't do a gotcha, you're wrong. It is what it is. But yeah, thanks to thanks to the Raiders Army for coming out strong to support us there.
Yeah.
But
have you seen any of the new posters for F1? They've started putting them up in England out here in London, and there's there's this beautiful sunset silhouette of Brad with the race car. Yep. And they're silhouetted by oh my God, it looks so good.
It reminded me of like a Top Gun Maverick shot. Yeah, in a way.
Absolutely.
Because it's Kaczynski, so it's sort of his style with this right now. And I read that Tom was in talks to do F1 potentially instead of Brad, but also and then I read and it was an interview with one of the coordinators or one of the people who builds cars for movies and has been building cars for Tom and motorcycles for all of his films. He's like, if Tom did this movie, there probably would have been a crash because he just pushes it to the edge. He goes as far as he possibly can. And he's like, there probably would have been a crash at some point. So it's a good thing Brad did this role instead because Brad knows his limits, whereas Tom never wants to know his limits and always is trying to push it. And so it was an interesting interview to read where he's like, if Tom did this movie, then he probably would have crashed a car at some point. I'm sure he would have survived, but
he would have been like, everybody needs to get out there on the racetrack for real.
And he's like, but Brad knows, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, he's not that kind of guy. He understands his role as an actor, and he's not gonna push himself. I think Brad seems like perfect casting, and it's so cool because he hasn't done action that much in his career. If you think about it, he hasn't really done that much action. And on top of that, I don't think he's ever played an athlete as far as I can remember, as far back as I can remember. I don't
Technically,
think Brad Pitt's
you're wrong.
played an athlete.
You're wrong.
What do you got?
In Moneyball, he played Billy Bean, who was a baseball player. He doesn't play baseball in the movie.
He hasn't performed an athletic endeavor in any film.
That's why I said technically. Yeah. Well, he does fly fishing in a movie.
That's not a sport, is it? Fly fishing is a sport. It's on ESPN, so I guess so.
I mean, if cornhole's a sport, then well, let's talk about his action movies and maybe if we can prove Anthony wrong.
Hold on, let me see off the top of my head, see if I can name them. Let me see. Spy Game.
Sure, yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yep.
Brad Pitt action movie. Huh. Brad Pitt action movie. I mean, technically, that one that just came out with Sandra Bullock, where he has a cameo, but
sure.
Bullet Train.
Yep, 3.
Bullet Train. Yeah, there's not that many. Let
me add some more. You're missing Troy.
Oh yeah, okay. It's an action movie.
It's an action movie. He's killing people with a sword, Anthony. Fury is an action movie.
Yes.
World War Z is an action movie.
Oh, it's a good one.
So we've already kind of proved Anthony wrong here with his belief that
if you
Brad
look at it's only like a quarter of his movies. Less than a quarter.
Well, he's not like an
movies.
action. Sure, he's not Tom Cruise doing action 80% of the time, but he's done quite a few action movies.
He's done some action. You're right. He's done some action. He doesn't need to do action.
Ad Astra has some good action sequences.
It has an but it doesn't mean it's an action movie.
You know, it's not. Yeah, it's not an action movie.
The monkey scene was great. The moon scene's great, but that's it, man.
Allied with Angelina Jolie is an action movie.
That's with Marion Cotillard, James.
Was it Marion Cotillard? With Marion Cotillard, it's an action movie. You're right. I think they were divorced by then. Yeah, they were totally divorced by then.
Oh man, awkward.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the film they made together that she directed, By the Sea?
Never saw it, but I know it exists.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It's about a couple on the rocks, and they go on a getaway to a beach town in France, and they both make friends, like mentored kind of friends, as they're falling into like the marriage is falling into like disillusionment. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think she's got a good directing career. I think she's a solid director. I think she does a good job with it.
Yeah, I think Unbroken's a really great film. That was a great, inspiring POW camp movie. And I thought that was a really powerful film that she made.
Yeah, did you know Roger Deakins shot that?
Yeah, of course I do.
Fucking gorgeous.
The movie looked amazing.
Did you see? Speaking of Brad, let's stay on him. Did you see his GQ fashion shoot?
The new one, yeah, he's very masculine, very
shaved head,
and
beard,
and then working on a farm.
I wonder what he shaved his head for.
Well,
I wonder what he shaved his head for.
I can look up on IMDb and see what he's working on, because off the top of my head,
he's got a shaved head and beard. It's got to be like some kind of rough roll.
Well, the beard, or maybe he could just be growing for fun.
Yeah,
but the shaved head. He's in pre-production on The Riders.
What's that?
The Riders is, let me pull it up. An Australian living in Ireland embarks on a frantic search for his missing wife. I have no idea. Edward Berger is directing it. Edward Berger.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah, we talked about that like a month ago on Movie News.
Yeah, but he's also in pre-production on a Jeff Nichols movie called Land of Opportunity, set during the Great Depression and oil crisis. The U.S. government seizes food crops for taxes. Amidst an economic collapse, I'm guessing he's playing a farmer in that film. That's in pre-production right now.
A very handsome farmer.
But yeah, he's got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2 he's going to do soon. So I bet you he's filming the Burger movie first, then his hair will grow out a little more. Because the Tarantino project, I'm guessing, won't start shooting for maybe beginning of next year.
No, they're shooting later this year.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're getting they're in pre-production right now. They're going to shoot later this year, it said.
Maybe he'll just have a different haircut then, because it's going to take a while to grow that hair.
Yeah. Can you believe it's the first time they're making a movie since Benjamin Button? Almost 20 years.
Yeah, because they worked so well together, and he was sort of his muse in a lot of ways. You know, Fight Club, Seven, and then Benjamin Button. So I think it's going to be really magnetic to see them working together and see what they come up with for this film. And I'm so curious to see Fincher's interpretation of Cliff Booth, as well as what it'll be like for someone else to direct a Tarantino script for the first time since, True Romance, Natural Born Killers,
From Dusk Till
Dawn. So it's been a long time off the top of my head since someone else has directed a screenplay that Tarantino wrote. And it's really interesting that he has been so protective of his scripts until now. Maybe he didn't love some of the adaptations of his work, but I like how he didn't let anyone else direct any of his screenplays for the majority of his career. Once it was the turn of the century, and now maybe in his twilight years, now he's almost done directing. He's totally found with other people directing his scripts.
He must have some in the shelves. He must have some, or at least parts of some scripts just hanging around that he never.
I'm sure he's got
fully
50
finished.
scripts that he wrote. I'm sure he has 50 scripts just on a shelf.
Probably got a ton.
I mean,
it took him like a decade to finish Inglourious Bastards. He wrote a version of Inglourious Bastards and he didn't like it in like 2000, and then he went back to it after he made a few movies. He went back to it and figured it out. He cracked it, but he made a first version of Inglourious Bastards that was like very different from what we ended up seeing, and that was he wrote it about 10 years before the film even came out.
That's
That
that's
happens
the thing.
sometimes.
That's the thing with being a screenwriter, especially if you're not like sort of a gun for hire and you're just doing your own original stuff. I remember reading this great interview with Guillermo Del Toro, who I don't know if you saw the new Frankenstein trailer. It looks awesome.
Oh, it looks awesome. Amazing.
I wish it was getting a theatrical release. It will be limited, but it's a
Same.
Netflix movie at the end of the day. But man, it looks stunning and haunting and really interesting colors, like always in his films. But he was talking about how this is so many filmmakers, but so many screenwriters. You know, you're always writing and you're always trying to get your movies developed. And while you're trying to get them developed, you're writing the screenplay and figuring out the story. There's so many great interviews. This is just like Stanley Kubrick with his several films, including the Napoleon film he wanted to make. But there's, I think, almost 20 scripts that Guillermo del Toro has written that never went anywhere, something like that. And either they were developed or fully written. And that's just the end of that's just the situation with writing is you're constantly writing. Not everything's going to be good, but also not everything's going to get produced into a movie, even if you are Guillermo del Toro. I really wish that someone would give him a budget to do At the Mountain of Madness. At the Mountains of Madness,
That would have
which
been
I think would be
amazing.
He's been trying to get that movie made for like 30 years, but every once in a while he gets one of these scripts made. Like Nightmare Alley is a script he wrote a while ago that he obviously got made, and you know there's so many screenplays that he's written that just have been unproduced that are just sitting on his shelves now that he spent time and years of his life working on and developing and writing. And it's just it is what it is, you know. That's part of being a screenwriter. He even wrote a Count of Monte Cristo movie, which would have been cool, I'm sure, from his perspective. And his own very different version of Pacific Rim 2 as well, because they actually had someone else write that sequel instead of him because he didn't come back for it. Justice League Dark. Remember he was going to do a Dark Justice League back in the day as well?
Yeah.
He had a Beauty and the Beast script that he wanted to make. So that's just at the end of the day part of being a writer. A lot of your stuff's not going to get produced. And I'm sure Tarantino, who's an avid writer as well, has at least a dozen scripts that have never been produced as well.
It's crazy. And Christopher Nolan, same kind of thing with Inglourious Basterds. He was working on Inception after Memento, and he couldn't figure it out. And so then he made a bunch of big films, and then he finally went back to it and he cracked the code for it. And then he wrote it he said he wrote it pretty quickly once he figured out what was missing, and then went right into it. And to think that he spent 10 years just trying to get that story to work, it's unbelievable.
And speaking of Nolan and unproduced scripts, I'm sure he's got several as well, but I remember before Scorsese made Aviator, Christopher Nolan was developing and had written what he said at the time was his best script ever, a Howard Hughes biopic. And it would have starred he wanted Jim Carrey to play Howard Hughes. But Martin Scorsese was starting development and was making The Aviator right around that time and right before it, so he had to just can it because you can't make two biopics come out in the same back-to-back years. And so, according to him, in 2007, it's the best script he'd ever written. But that was, a long time ago. It's probably not as good as a script like he's done with Oppenheimer, or even Tenet's a great script. So
it was Oppenheimer. He just changed the name.
And instead of planes, it was bombs. But I would have loved to see a Nolan version of Howard Hughes and then see what he would have done with, practical filmmaking with the plane sequences and everything like that. And obviously, The Aviator from Martin Scorsese is, I think, one of the more underrated movies of the century and his career in general. And I love that film. And Leonardo DiCaprio's fantastic as Howard Hughes, just one of his most overlooked performances, I think, in his entire career. That performance probably should have deserved an Oscar at the end of the day. But I think that it would be really interesting to see what Nolan would have come up with in an alternate reality, or just to at least check out his script. But then that's another example of a huge filmmaker doesn't get a script made, not because he can't get the budget here, but because someone else, a master, is directing one as well.
Yeah, man, I love that movie. I love that movie so much. Now, James, you watched a movie that hasn't been released yet in the UK, but I'm going to try and see it soon. You watched Bring Her Back, the other day. What did you think about the film?
So this is from the filmmakers behind Talk to Me, the Philippou brothers, Raka Raka. All I gotta say is before you see this movie, make sure you have an empty stomach. And don't eat anything during. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, I haven't felt queasy in a theater in I don't know how long, and I had to look away several times. This movie's brutal. It's hardcore. The gore, it's not constant. It's just so intense, and the sound design is incredible. I think the Philippous are really great filmmakers. Visually, have their own great style. Really interesting. I like the stories they come up with. They're very unique and original ideas. This one is obviously Bring Her Back. The synopsis is a mother tries to bring her daughter back from the dead after the daughter dies. And I think that it's got a great idea and it's executed so well. I think people are going to enjoy it if they're fans of Talk to Me. But holy crap, I'm still like my stomach. I had to put my hand up, I think 3 times during the movie to kind of block what was happening on screen as well as look away. But still, the sound design was just like killing me. It was and everyone in the theater was squirming in their seats. It was brutal, man. But it's not for a ton of the movie. It's just these snippets of intense gore that are so visceral and realistic and intense that, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, don't fucking get any popcorn when you see this movie.
Which film do you prefer more?
I would say Talk to Me I prefer more. And for me, that's because I just love the style of horror movies that deals with a curse or deals with a cursed artifact. And I think that was just such a great idea and was so fresh. And it was a fun movie at the same time because it's very much a party movie, but also deals with really intense themes of mental health, which is, I think, something that the Philippou brothers do really well with their storytelling is they're shedding light on something really important in everyday people's lives, whether it's mental health in that or grief in Bring Her Back. And I really enjoyed that aspect of Talk to Me because I love curse movies, whether it's a ghost or a haunting or something spiritual like that. And I think it has such a great ending as well. And I'm looking forward to Talk to Me 2. Part of me wishes we got Talk to Me 2 instead of Bring Her Back first. But I respect them not doing the easy thing and just making a sequel to their hit and pivoting and saying, we're going to do something else first before we get to Talk to Me 2, which they have 2 scripts for. So I really like that decision to just do something unique and different again. And I think they really pulled it off, and I think that audiences are really going to enjoy it.
Did you hear about 28 Years Later's event?
Yes, I heard about it, and I was so disappointed we didn't get invited. And
Sony. What's up, Sony? They played the first 28 minutes of the film to an audience of like journalists and press and media and influencers. James, you didn't get the invite, unfortunately, from Sony. Maybe one day, but man,
it was in New York anyways.
Okay, I wish I could have seen it. And people are saying it's unbelievable. The reactions were like, if the tension and suspense and the thrills and the world building hold up for the rest of the runtime of the film, which they didn't see just the first 28 minutes, but if it continues, they're saying it's like it could be one of the best horror films of the century, and I am so excited. They're saying Danny Boyle's filmmaking is so creative and energetic and poetic and symbolic and fresh and he's doing new things that have never been done before. I think these are all good things, man. We need filmmakers to keep pushing the envelope and trying new things out. I think a lot of people are getting bored at movies. Even if they're a good movie, they're getting bored. Or because we've seen so many movies, there could be a redundancy factor for general audiences, which is why they go to less movies. And so it's important, and what Danny Boyle's doing is he's experimenting, he's trying new things, he's trying to visually give audiences something they'll never be able to see at home or on their phone or on their TV. And I think we need filmmakers like him to always be pushing the envelope.
We talk about it a lot. So many movies just look and feel the same, even across genres. I think specifically with the action genre, a lot of things are looking the same. The horror genre, we're getting a ton of unique movies, but also the majority of them look and feel the same. So many reboots, so many remakes, so many shallow depth field shots, and I think that with Danny Boyle, he's always been an innovator. He's always been a director that's trying to push the boundaries. 28 Days Later proved that back then when he's shooting on those low-quality digital cameras, those DV XL1 from Canons, and just adding this unique quality to the film. And then movies like Slumdog Millionaire are innovative as well. And 127 Hours, that's a movie where half the movie's camcorder footage, you know what I mean? It's really interesting how he's willing to do things like that, and it still makes for a very entertaining experience if you're a great filmmaker and a visionary. And we posted some content about that great BTS image of this half-circle camera rig that these two crew members are holding and running along with one of the actors who plays clearly an infected that has 20 iPhone 15s attached to it. The whole film's shot on iPhone 15s. But again, it's not like they're just holding iPhone 15s on set. They're basically using the iPhones as processors, attaching entire camera kits, cinema lenses to the iPhones. But for this shot, it's 20 iPhones. And there's another shot with a crane that has about a dozen iPhones attached to it following someone else. And this is an example of Danny Boyle innovating with technology and connecting to the first film with this grit, with what kind of digital filmmaking or digital video cameras do people have in their pockets or at home every day, whereas 2000 with 20 Days Later, everyone had access to like a little camcorder, or today everyone has a smartphone in their pocket. So shooting with smartphones, I think, connects it so well to that first film. Now, in the content we posted, most people were like, this is so cool, very exciting, lots of shares, lots of cool comments, but also plenty of people hating on it, calling it dumb, saying it's pretentious.
Oh, my God.
And it's like, why are they doing this? It makes no sense to me, or calling out Danny Boyle. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna trust Danny Boyle and his filmmaking and his brilliant visionary skills at directing over some random comment hating on an iPhone 15 being used to make a movie, because they just don't understand what he's doing. They haven't even seen the movie yet. I have not seen the movie. We've seen some footage, but we haven't even probably, I'm sure, gotten a taste of what this movie's going to look like with the technology that they're using with the iPhone 15s, with these really interesting shots that we've seen BTS of that are not in the trailers. I think everyone's just got to chill out if you're hating on this and just wait till the movie comes out and enjoy it. And I think you're spot on that audiences are not getting bored. They're just so used to the same. And so many studios are just putting out the same carbon, just same like factory pressed product coming out of the conveyor belt every year, every genre. Oh, this is what's hot. This is what's popular. This is what's popular. This is what's popular. Let's just do what that's doing. Let's do what they're doing. Let's just keep doing the same thing. It's safe. We get a more guaranteed ROI, return on investment. It's easy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the modern technology and modern filmmaking, I think because it's so easy compared to back in the day shooting on film with big tungsten lights and building so many sets, it's so much easier to shoot things now that it kind of, in some ways, not everyone, there are plenty of visually interesting filmmakers, but it has made a lot of filmmaking pretty stale visually and creatively. So I think we need to get back to that, and I think more people need to shoot on film. I'm always saying that, even though I love what Danny Boyle's doing. I have a theory for what that I do believe it's bullet time. Here's what I think.
Hold on. Before you talk about that, let's run to our intermission real quick break, and then we'll come back and get what Anthony's going to talk about with the 20 camera setup with 20 iPhones and how it connects to bullet time from The Matrix. And before we continue, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost Podcast is to become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast, where you get access to the ad-free version of every single episode, as well as weekly bonus episodes, plus access to our Discord. Patreon is the best and most stable way to support the show. It really helps us pay the bills every month so that we can do the show full time. We couldn't do it without Patreon, so thank you to our patrons past, present, and future. You can also subscribe on YouTube, which is a great way to support us, and leaving those comments and likes on all of our videos, especially also on Instagram and TikTok. Those likes, comments, and shares are what gets us all these cool opportunities. Engagement's key to us, as well as those 5-star written reviews and ratings on Spotify and Apple. I'll get to one of the amazing 5-star written reviews that people are leaving to bury that terrible, untrue, unfair 1-star review on Apple Podcasts in just a minute. But leave those ratings and reviews because it helps us get seen by new people, helps us chart on podcast platforms, and really adds reputability to the show. And also sharing us with your family and friends. Share your favorite episodes with them. That's the best way for our podcast to grow organically. Word of mouth is integral to our success and our future. So share our videos on Instagram, on TikTok, put them in your stories. Tell your friends that there's this kick-ass movie podcast if they need something new to listen to in the car, at the gym, wherever. And thanks so much to everyone who does already.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Check out that amazing John Wick 3 Parabellum poster behind James. That baby is backlit. It looks gorgeous. It's stunning. So bold, so brave. It pops thanks to that backlit frame, which you can get at movieposters.com. Always use our promo code Raiders10 there, which will get you 10% off all orders, as well as the affiliate link, which you can find in the description of this episode, as well as on our social media. That affiliate link gives James and I a little cut of the action, so we appreciate that greatly. They have a huge selection of pretty much every film and TV show imaginable in their gigantic poster library. Everything from your favorite modern blockbuster like Sinners and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning to your favorite Hollywood classics and all sorts of international prints as well. For all the collectors out there, they have very rare original print posters, lobby cards, and stills that you can buy. These are collector's items. There's only a finite amount of them left in the world, so get them while you can. Movieposters.com is the best place for all of your poster needs. Use our promo code there, Raiders10, to always get 10% off your order and the affiliate link.
All right. Do you want to hear a 5-star rating review, Anthony, or do you want to do unsubscribes first?
We'll do some unsubscribes first. Keep it in order.
Let's hear it then.
You're just excited to read that, aren't you?
I am. It's a good one.
All right, first up, Jason. He didn't say plays himself. How dare you? Unsubscribed, James.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure. I watched it again. I didn't say he plays himself. I said he directs it and acts in it himself.
Oh, okay. It must have been, the Wi-Fi connection. I must have heard it differently. We're talking about
it was the Wi-Fi guys.
Ansari.
It was the Wi-Fi.
The Keanu Reeves Aziz Ansari movie. I thought Anthony said that Aziz Ansari plays himself when he doesn't, and Anthony apparently didn't say that. So I was wrong.
Next up, Nick Putman. Hey guys, Nick Lee here. My bio was read wrong in Letterboxd. It says my top 4 equals whatever I'm feeling at the time, not all of the time. Unsubscribed.
Wow. I know. Listen, it's Anthony sometimes has trouble reading. It's okay. Sorry.
It's tough. Reading's hard. All right, FC Bork on Movie News. Also about saying I was wrong about Aziz Ansari. Add this to the collection of James saying Anthony misspoke when in actuality he just misheard. Justice for my boy Anthony. I honestly reckon James is only right about 15% of the time, and with his callouts.
Come on. Okay, on callouts.
It's okay though. I won't unsubscribe.
I feel like I gotta be shooting. I'm shooting better than that. Come on.
No, I feel like you have a terrible batting average with the callouts.
Maybe.
I think you have a terrible batting average. All right, next up, Tiny Raccoon. Den of Thieves, based the Chuck Hogan novel. It's Prince of Thieves. Unsubscribed.
Yeah. The town's based off of it.
What to do on Movie News? The Superman billboard was cool, but Chick-fil-A has been way ahead of them on the billboard curve for years. Also, I will unsubscribe due to you guys not saying anything about Sinners still crushing at the box office. Oh, wait, you did.
Every movie news, we talk about Sinners.
All right, on our best movie monsters of all time, Ziggy wrote, I'm betting Jaws is number 1. If not, I will unsubscribe. Update number 2. You have summoned the unsub monster.
What did we put at number 1? I can't remember.
Xenomorph.
Okay, yeah. Come on, Xenomorph's so good.
Perfect organism. Next up, on Memento, Ziggy also wrote, unsubscribed, movie this discussing reverse in talk you didn't, guys. Unsubscribed. He wrote his comment in reverse. That's it for unsubscribers. Thanks, everybody, for throwing those in and making us giggle. It's always a good time.
We have a great 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts from Jenny May MCK. 5 stars, subject line, 5 stars. Found you guys from your Dead Poets Society episode and then listened to study for my history of film class and haven't looked back since. You guys have found the perfect balance of analysis and criticism while also still just being excited about movies. Still can't tell you guys apart, but 5 stars. You guys are the background soundtrack to my life at the moment. Jenny, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jenny.
We're so glad that I hope we helped you with your film class, your history of film. If you got some info from us, that must be a lot of fun.
Jenny.
But so glad you found us. I love Dead Poets Society, and that was such a fun episode to do. That's one of our all-time favorites from growing up. Thank you so much. I love to hear that we're the background soundtrack of your life. Jedi. Forrest Gump. Anyways, thanks for that so much. Shall we quickly get back into our episode? And I made Anthony stop talking about his bullet time theory to tease it, to fuck with you all and put you all on a cliffhanger. But come on, aren't you going to be really excited when Anthony tells us about it right now?
The pressure's on now. I think because you said that it might have been not quite bullet time, but maybe they're all recording. I think it's bullet time, but they made it a portable rig so they can run with the actor and do bullet time at the same time.
So hold on, define what you mean by bullet time, because they are all filming. All cameras are on recording.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like a bullet time shot where that's what I think. It's gonna be a bullet time shot like in the Matrix, but they're gonna be moving at the same time. Bullet time's never done that. Bullet time is they've always set up a static rig around the actor, but this time the rig's moving.
True, but also, yeah, so again, though, bullet time, for everyone to really understand, it's photos being taken, so that's why Neo freezes when they do the bullet time.
No,
it's
yeah.
Image.
Yeah,
it's a static image. No, I'm just saying the difference here is it's not photos, it's video.
If it's a video that might rotate the video, so it'll rotate around the actor.
Yeah, sure. That's what. So it's a hybrid
while running full sprint.
It's like video bullet time.
Yeah.
That would be pretty wild. That would be pretty wild. So I think I'm there with you, man. I think that's probably why else would you want to do that.
For me, I always find that the inventing new ways of filming is, for me, visually is always more interesting than extravagant visual effects. Like if you think about the car sequence in Children of Men, never seen anything like that sequence before.
Still haven't.
The rig was brilliant, and there's no CGI except for obviously the ping pong ball and the flames. And when they shoot the guy on the motorcycle and he crashes hard, like that's a CGI motorcycle in Rider 2, obviously, but practically the shot's done for real in camera. And for me, the dynamism in filmmaking comes from actual filmmaking and not just like how extravagant can this effect look, or how crazy can we make the design of this film look. For me, it's how can we change the way you film something. I've always found more interesting. In that Children of Men car scene, it was just like jaw-dropping. We were like 15 when we saw that, and I had never seen anything like it before in my life. The way the camera moved around inside that vehicle and the way it whipped and panned, and they held that shot for so long and never cut, but so much was happening. I always find that to be more interesting than what I think a lot of studios are pushing out with just gigantic, bombastic sequences, if that makes sense.
No, I absolutely agree, because when I think of always, growing up watching movies, especially movies from the past, and really falling in love with cinema, I love so many great visuals and visual effects and cinematography. But then the shots that always stick with me are the practical, really clever, secretive shots that you don't know how they did it, and you're watching, you're like, how the fuck did they do that? Because it's been done practically. I mean, Inception with the spinning hallway is just a more contemporary example of never seeing anything like that done before. Today, they would do that if it was a big budget film. Most likely, most filmmakers would do CGI and green screen or blue screen. But to actually build a centrifuge and do it like that practically with wire work is just so incredible. But it's not the first time a massive centrifuge has been built. I mean, 2001: A Space Odyssey, we have a massive centrifuge built. So I think 2001 is a great example of really inventive filmmaking techniques that act as great optical illusions for shots while you're watching it that you don't understand how they did it, whether it be the centrifuge of the astronauts traveling in their sort of office space or going for a jog, as well as still to this day, whenever I watch the character on the jet, on the space shuttle going to the station for his trip, and the stewardess, the flight attendant, walks basically upside down in a circle with the Velcro. She's using Velcro shoes and the same kind of trick. Stuff like that always still sticks with me. That's a shot that's just done in camera. It's so unique. I've never seen anything like it still to this day. But it's a practical shot that they just figured out how to do filmmaking-wise, innovating to do it in person.
It's crazy, man. It's unbelievable. And using the pane of glass, it's unbelievable.
And then also think about The Shining, especially at the time when that movie came out in 1980. What was so visually unique about that movie and new for audiences was the insanely controlled and smooth Steadicam running around that entire hotel. No one really ever seen it done that big before on that big of a scale. The Steadicam filmmaking, the Steadicam rig, which was being developed at that time by that guy, had been used a few times here and there before, but it had never been used to that scale and that much. That's an example of innovating something that today to us is kind of normal now, but still has never looked as good as it did in The Shining, and added so much to the movie, and there's just a practical innovation.
My God, Kubrick loved that Steadicam, and then even in his last film, Eyes Wide Shut, he used so much Steadicam work, but it looks exceptional. It looks so good, and it's amazing that film has developed a really incredible resurgence in popularity amongst young people. It's one of those films that I was surprised that it's so culturally relevant still. It's still, people are talking about that movie Eyes Wide Shut a lot. I think it's just like all of his movies, there's a curiosity about that film, and there's so much mystery about it, and so little is explained. And it's just when he made a movie, it was more than just a film. It was really just a feeling, and it was an experience too. When you watch Eyes Wide Shut, that movie's an experience. It's not so much a film that you usually see in a theater or watch at home. It's like even when you watch it on a small screen, there's something just hypnotizing about that film. And many of his films were like that.
Yeah, and I think that has something to do with Tom and Nicole are still some of the biggest stars on the planet. As well, it is one of Kubrick's best movies, hands down. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's so fun and so interesting and unique and eerie. But I think that's just a really great film as well in general. I'm glad that movies from the past, even though it's not that old, 1999, that younger kids and younger film lovers are starting to appreciate older cinema, which I hope keeps going on.
Did you see what Criterion Channel just added? What Criterion Collection just added? They added Talented Mr. Ripley.
No way.
Which means maybe they're at work on a 4K release of it.
That's something I would invest in.
I would buy that in a second. I would buy that. There are certain movies where if when they come out 4K, I have to get it. That's one of them. Absolutely.
Man, I would love that. I love that movie so much. Like
You'll be in Rome soon.
Yeah, I'll be in Rome in 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's coming fast. The thing with Criterion again is the editions. They're just $50 a pop.
Yeah.
$50 for a Criterion Collection 4K, and they're beautiful and they're incredible and so much great artistry and work goes into them. But at the end of the day, it's like you can only buy so many of those before you're emptying out your bank account. But I would buy Talented Mr. Ripley Criterion Collection 4K. 100% would. Absolutely.
Are you gonna listen to that score while you're going to Italy on the plane?
No, I mean I never. Maybe now, but I didn't think of it. Like it's not like it's my first. If it was my first time going, then maybe. But this will be my fourth time, so it's just kind of like it's just
fourth
what
time.
I do, fourth or third? Third time. Third time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Third
you went
time,
by
third
yourself.
time.
You went with me, and then now it's you by yourself again.
You're right. I've only gone twice. My third time in Italia, then my first time in Greece.
This Greece is going to be epic. But
Yeah,
I'm going
I
to
cannot
Austria.
wait.
I'm going to Austria on Thursday, and then while I'm in Austria, I'm going to go to the location of the Ballerina film, the John Wick film, which would be really cool. And it was an accident. Like I already booked that trip there, and Ballerina was heavily shot there in that one location. It's this little lake town called Hallstatt. So I'm going there. And then I'm also going to the locations where they filmed The Sound of Music in the mountains. So it would be cool to see those in real life for the first time. And then
What's
also,
cool- I'm sorry.
like the before sunrise, I'm going to do like a lot of the before sunrise landmarks that they hit in their walk.
When I'm in Rome, I'm gonna find from Fast X where the giant ball destroyed the Vatican. That's where I'm.
You're gonna follow the giant ball route.
The wreckage of that giant ball.
Yeah, people all over the world are walking the route.
That made no sense to me. So to stay in Hallstatt and Ballerina, which comes out this weekend, I really enjoyed Ballerina, and we keep getting hate. Like I made a video talking about how much I enjoyed it. We did a recap
How
video.
dare you.
People are like, "There's no way this movie's good. This movie's terrible." I'm like, "You haven't even seen it. How can you call it a bad movie? You haven't seen the movie. It's not out yet." It's genuinely really fun. It's great action. It's an awesome time. Unique action, which I've never seen before, which is what I always am so happy about. But we were talking with Len Wiseman when we got to interview about Hallstatt, and he basically was talking about how we asked him what was the most difficult part of production. He said that because they were only there for 2 days, and I'm telling you,
What?
a good amount of time takes. This a good amount of the movie takes place in Hallstatt, and so they had 2 days to film. Basically, the exteriors. I'm sure all the interiors they just filmed on sound stages, but the exteriors they had to get all of their shots in Hallstatt in 2 days. And he's like, basically, we just film constantly, and he approached it very much like an independent film, running and gunning, guerrilla style, putting cameras everywhere, shooting as much as possible because they were only there for 2 days, which was really fascinating because they do some really intense, complex stuff there. But again, interiors, I'm sure, were all done on sound stages.
I don't get. There's something really weird happening with film audiences. Someone said in a comment on our page that it was crazy that I enjoyed the Karate Kid movie, and that like
The new one, Karate Kid Legends.
Yeah. Like it makes no sense that I would enjoy the movie, and it's just like you must have like no taste or like no standards, and I'm just like. I'm not I feel like there are people that go to movies and they want to be angry about them. And they want movies to fail. And I just don't get it. Like I walk into movies and I'm like, okay, I'm going to open myself up to this movie and see what happens. And Karate Kid Legends, it's not the best movie in the world, but it was pretty entertaining. It was very funny and had a decent story, but it was just like people want films to fail. It's like their sports teams, like a rival sports team. It's really weird. I find it very strange.
It's interesting also what films get selected to be beloved by a specific loud part of the audience online that generally sometimes aren't very good movies versus good movies that get hated on by those same people. It's like specific movies for some reason get chosen every year to be lifted up and to be highly overrated, I think, in my opinion, by online communities. And for some reason, they pick these movies and they look at them with blinders on. They refuse to look at the cons to the film or the loopholes or plot holes or whatever it be. But then they'll look at other movies with a magnifying glass and looking at every shot, every piece of dialogue, every scene, analyzing and criticizing everything about it, while this other movie, which is a good movie but maybe probably highly overrated compared to everything else they talk about, they just treat it like they lift it up and put it on a pedestal. They won't say a bad thing about it. It's so interesting.
And they attack anyone who says anything bad to say about it.
It's nuts. Like we talked about Fountain of Youth. I liked that movie. It's not a perfect movie.
Yeah.
It's over polished at times. But it's a good time. It's a fun way to spend 2 hours at home if you got the night off or you got nothing to do. Crack a beer, open up a Chex Mix, and watch Fountain of Youth. It's a fun movie. And we talked about that. And we got destroyed in the comments. I had to take a video down. It's just like,
I had
Jesus,
a good
guys.
time with it. I had a
fun.
good time with Fountain of Youth.
And we didn't get paid to watch it. We didn't get paid by Apple to watch that movie or talk about it. We just talked about it because we watched it.
It's like, I mean, I have this thing where maybe there's this thing where people they want every movie to be the best thing they've ever seen every time they see a movie. And so nothing can ever meet the expectations. But so I walked into Karate Kid and I walked into Fountain of Youth and I was just like, I'm not expecting much from these movies, but I love movies so much. Like, I enjoy it, even though they're getting destroyed and we're getting attacked for liking a movie and questioned why we like a movie. It's like, I like movies. It's like saying, like, it's like if you love pizza, you know, I like all pizza. I've rarely had a slice of pizza that I don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love pizza.
Frozen pizza.
Yeah, I love pizza. It's very rare to have a slice of pizza where it's just like, oh, it's not that good. That's not a good piece of pizza. It happens. It does happen. It's rare, though. I just love pizza. I love all of the pizzas I eat. I love movies. And you know what? I like most movies that I see. Even if they're not fucking Oscar-nominated screenplays or they're not changing the world with their narrative. You know what? There are movies that are just like a slice of pizza. It's like, it was a good slice of pizza. It was pretty good. And I think we're getting too hard on movies. And we're expecting too much from every movie. Yes, when you see a Chris Nolan movie, you have expectations that's going to be fucking amazing when you see a Nolan movie. But when you see a Karate Kid movie, you're not expecting the greatest movie ever made. So I don't understand. I really don't understand it. I don't get it.
And the funny thing is, they probably never even saw the original.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of film people who are very critical of movies, I think they probably haven't. They also still haven't even seen great classics or even a movie like Children of Men. So like their film palette isn't great, but then they're still criticizing people for enjoying movies that aren't masterpieces. There's nothing wrong with that. I read Goosebumps. I enjoyed Goosebumps, the books. Nothing wrong with that. It was a good time. I had fun. They're not the best books ever made, but I like them.
But man, I gotta say my favorite experience in the cinema maybe this year has been watching The Last Samurai in cinemas on 35mm film. And I saw it at the BFI, the British Film Institute. They have 4 screens there. And I watched they've been doing a whole Tom Cruise month. They've been showing all of his films. And I got lucky. I got a seat in the middle of this theater for Last Samurai. And dude, everyone was locked in. I have not heard a cinema that quiet in forever. And like everybody got this is super fans of The Last Samurai. Everybody's laughing at all the right times because it has some good comedy in the film. And then there were definitely a few people who had never seen it because you could tell the way they were reacting and crying. But man, it was like there were like 3 guys next to me, like young guys our age, and then the older guys to the left. And dude, before the movie started, we were all fucking locked in. We were just like silent, just waiting for the curtains to roll over. And man, on the big screen with that music and Tom Cruise and Ken Watanabe, oh my, it was unbelievable, man. It was so incredible to see in theaters. Holy shit, man. And huge round of applause at the end, cheers and stuff. Everybody was going nuts. It was awesome.
Oh, I'm jealous, man. I'm so jealous of that experience.
It was great. It was like, oh my God, it was so good. Like right when it started going, I was like, fucking A, here we go.
For theater experiences for me this year so far, obviously I think Mission Impossible takes the cake for me because I just love Tom. Sinners was great as well. But I'm telling you, Friendship, when I saw that movie in theaters, 35 millimeter, with a packed crowd that loved Tim Robinson. Has that been released in the UK yet?
Not yet, no.
Oh my God, Anthony, you gotta see this as soon as you can.
I might have to rent it. Is the only way I can see it probably.
It'll probably still be in theaters here, but that was an incredible theater experience because I haven't laughed that much with a crowd for a movie in person in a long time. In a long fucking time, man. And it was just a great experience. It was so silly and everyone enjoyed themselves. And it was like unhinged humor and the whole audience was loving it. So that was one of my favorite theater experiences this year for sure.
I can't wait to see it. I watched this movie. Do you know of Death Note?
Death Note sounds kind of familiar.
It's like a graphic novel. It's about this kid who gets a journal from a demon, and whoever's name he writes in it dies.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
it's got like this like gothic demon. His name's Ryuk. There was an American adaptation. It's one of the most like hated movies ever. It's got like a 1-star rating on Letterboxd.
Is it very whitewashed? Because it's the Japanese story, right?
It's whitewashed, but also apparently they did a horrible job with it. It's got like Alex Wolff in it. But it's a manga series and an anime series, and then there's also 3 movies, Japanese movies adaptations of them. And I watched the first one. It was pretty good. I've known of this story for a while, and the thing was, it's an interesting story, but the CGI of the demon is just like Google the Death Note 2006. It's like CGI from like 2000 is put into a live action movie. So it takes you out of it, but once halfway through the movie you're like, okay, this is what it is. They made this on a tiny budget. Overall, it's pretty good movie. I didn't love it, but it was pretty good. But the thing is, it's a very dark movie. It's about death. It's about killing people, right? And the movie ends. It ends on a cliffhanger, setting up the second film. But what was so crazy about this movie, it might be the craziest song choice I've ever heard. The credit song was a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, California, rest in peace. It was so insane. So the movie ends on like a crazy dramatic cliffhanger. A bunch of people have died in this movie. It's super serious. It ends with like the setting up of a showdown between 2 characters. Super intense. Cuts to black. California, rest in peace.
What was your reaction?
I screamed out, why are they playing this song in the credits? It was so random. It's got to be the most random song choice ever that I've ever seen in a movie before in my entire life. It was so out of place, made no sense. And it was just like the guitar riff in Red Hot Chili Peppers song during the credits of this movie. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who chose this?
Maybe that's why they picked it, because it's the most random thing that they could have done.
I don't know. Maybe it was like, was that the number 1 hit of 2006? It was around that time.
Probably. That's pretty funny. Death Note, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Who would have thought?
Oh man. What a time, man.
So it's the song Danny California.
Yeah, Danny California.
I wonder if there's a reason why. And then they use
Dude,
Snow, Hey Ho in the sequel.
What?
Hey ho, listen what I say. Oh.
These are like gothic horror movies. This makes no sense. Hey, it's different culture. It's a different culture.
Yeah, I think that he wanted to give the international feel to it. I don't know. That's an interesting creative choice, though, for sure.
It was very jarring. It was not what I was expecting. It's very, very jarring.
All right. Well, this movie chat's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm glad to hear.
But we gotta wrap this up. Anthony's gotta edit this episode ASAP because he's leaving for Austria in 3 days, and we gotta bulk record a bunch of stuff.
I gotta eat that schnitzel.
So that the show goes on and we don't miss an episode for you all while we're on vacation, because I'll be in Rome and Greece in just a couple of weeks. But episodes will post as regularly scheduled programming, except for Letterboxd recaps and maybe a movie news here and there will probably get skipped. Just an FYI, because we will be all over the place in Europe. But thanks so much for tuning into this fun movie chat. We appreciate you all so much. Become a patron today, patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple. Share our content, like us in our videos on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Do all the things. Share us in your stories. Engage with our content. And take care.
See you next time.